Welcome, everybody, to the Rideshare Rodeo audio podcast. I'm Steve, and with me this week is Mike Paragudith. He is the CEO and co-founder of Whiz. And you can find Whiz, as we talk today, at getwhiz.com. It is spelled GETWHIZZ.com. So go ahead and follow along on the website if you'd like to. Mike, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, hey Steve, that's great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. So I've been looking through Whiz's stuff. I talked to somebody else at the company, and I've been communicating with some of the other people. But I mean, you guys are in. You launched in Chicago last week, right?
Yeah, we did. So, no, actually, we postponed it a little bit, so we are launching in 1 week from today. But anyway,
okay. So launching second week of March in Chicago. But I noticed you're in 7 states already.
Well, I mean, we have offices, our own locations in New York and New Jersey, in Philadelphia, and in Washington, D.C. right now.
Oh, because I also saw like what else did I see on here? Maryland and Virginia.
Yeah, it's because it's near the Washington, D.C., so we have some partner bike shops there who sell our bikes or rent out our bikes. So basically, it's Washington, D.C.
Okay, so before
we mostly think about it not as states, but more as cities, because electric bikes are more for use in some dense areas in some cities.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
For us it's always a city, not a state.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean that only makes. I mean, I would imagine. I've worked with companies before who have said, like we're on all the NFL team cities. It's just one way. If there's an NFL team there, they're there because that means it's a very big city.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, wherever there's congestion and it's tough to get around, that's where this kind of stuff comes in handy even more so. But that's not to say that a lot of markets couldn't use it. I mean, I can think of college towns that are trying to use these delivery bots where they're failing left and right, and yet nobody wants to go do it in a car because you got to go find dorms and this and that. But on a bike, you're a lot easier. So,
yeah, exactly.
So anyway, can you tell us a little bit about Whiz before we even jump in here?
Yeah, sure. So the idea behind the company is pretty simple. We provide electric bike built and designed especially for delivery purposes, and we provide it on a monthly basis as a rental option. We basically have different pricing options. You can buy a bike from us, you can rent to own it, you can lease it, but the most popular option is rental. So it's a monthly based rental, and you can get a bike. We call it bike as a service, because we not only provide a bike itself, but we also provide maintenance and service. And basically, if you get a bike from us and then something happens with the bike, we will either fix it in 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, but we will try, or we will exchange the bike. So it's basically as a bike as a service, and when you rent it, you can rely on it that you will always have a bike to make your deliveries. So that's a very simple idea.
My guess is that if you take it in for maintenance, it's like you're saying within 30 minutes. But my guess is the bike shop can look at it and go, "This is more than 30 minutes. Give them a new one. We'll get this one fixed." So it's almost like it would be. I would even think instant.
Yeah. Sometimes we do it exactly like that. So, but most of our repairs, honestly, are pretty simple things like flattened tires or something with brakes. You can just do brakes. So that just takes 20 minutes. If we see that this is something a little bit more complicated, we usually exchange the bike. Yeah, that happens a lot.
So that happens on the rental side. So on the rental side, you're completely covered. What happens on the rental side? Are you automatically participating in rent to own, whether you are planning to do it for sure, or you might just do this for 3 months? Are you automatically enrolled into rent to own?
No, you don't. These are different pricing plans. With the rent to own plan is very similar to rental, but you have to pay $100 down payment, non-refundable down payment to enroll in the rent to own. So that's
non-refundable down payment that goes towards the price of the bike, though.
Yeah, so it's the same price as rental, but if you pay it 12 months in a row, the bike is yours. So
Okay.
it's a good one.
Well, that's why
If
I was
if you
wondering
if
if,
you are sure if you're sure that you will use it for 12 months, you definitely want to go with rent to own. If you're not sure, if you're like want to try, or you're going to work and to deliver just for 6 months, 7 months, you should go with rent. So I think that's basically it.
but either way, it's $99 a month.
It's not a $99 It's actually it starts with $169 per month.
Oh, sorry. That's the rent to own or that's the rental?
Both of them.
Okay. So, I mean, to me, and this is just me,
Yep.
I would be, if I was very thinking very seriously about this and going to move over some of my Instacart, DoorDash, Grubhub type accounts to bike, I would put down the $100 bet on myself that, okay, let's see if this works. And if it does, I want to be renting to own it, not just renting it. I mean, are there any features that the people renting to own don't get who the rental people that the rental people do?
Yeah, the only that's a very good point, Steve. And the only thing that those who rent to own don't have, that they can't exchange the bike, because when they rent to own a bike, it's basically becomes your bike.
Right. Okay.
So if something happens with the bike, we will repair it and fix it, but we will not exchange it. So that's basically
And
it. Otherwise,
there's no loaner plan that while it's being fixed.
yeah, exactly. So you have to
Okay.
wait, etc. But it's not but honestly, it's not a big deal. So I would expect that most of people would prefer rent to own, but that's not how it works actually in our business. So the
Okay.
fact is that 70% of our customers prefer rentals, and like 30% prefer rent to owns. So that's and it goes for the last 2 years. So yeah, so that's just how it works. I don't have a perfect explanation for that. Maybe except that many people are not they're not going to work in delivery for more than a year. So that may be the only one. Maybe they don't want to pay this $100 down payment. It's non-refundable. So I don't know,
Or
but
maybe things times are just too tight. I know a lot of people times are
yeah,
that even that $100 is hard to come up with.
exactly.
So, but I mean, but nonetheless, I would assume, I don't know, but that you get a lot of more veteran people than people just starting in the gig economy.
I would not say so.
Really?
I don't have an exact numbers right now in my mind, but I'd say that we have pretty many people who just start working, and we get them because we have our marketing adjusted in this way. So let's say if someone is onboarded on DoorDash or Uber, we are trying to, to catch these guys at that point and to offer them our bike. And by the way, we are partnering with DoorDash on that. We are partnering with Grubhub on that. So I think we are catching pretty many
What
people
about
who just
Instacart?
started.
Because I see Instacart all over the website. Are you
Inst
partnering with Instacart, or is that just kind of more an informal thing?
yeah, it's just an informal thing. Officially, we are partnering only with DoorDash and Grubhub. And when I say partnering, I mean that we provide discounts for those guys who are coming using the link from DoorDash and Grubhub. So if say you're going to a DoorDash website, you're on board to the app, and at some point you see our link, like a suggested, bike provider, and you click on the link and you get to our site, you will get 15% discount from us. So that's
Nice.
how it works, and we don't have these programs with other companies yet.
Is that across the, what if I wanted to buy the e-bike outright, brand new, and I'm going to be a partner? Do I get 15%?
If you're buying for the full price,
Yeah, the full price.
oh, that's a good question. I don't remember. I think you will get 15%. I have to check it though. But yeah,
Okay.
you probably will get it.
Okay. So that is something I wanted to ask you then. So these partnerships with DoorDash, like me, okay, I work all of these apps, so I'm very familiar with all of them. But DoorDash in particular. DoorDash in my city has many zones, right? You're familiar
Yeah.
with DoorDash zones. My zone is one of the biggest and more ugly ones. It's really spread out and it can go really far distances. So I see a lot of 15, 20-mile offers. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, if I've never done this with DoorDash, I've never had an e-bike with DoorDash, only a car. So I'm wondering if once you get into that program, does DoorDash, have you talked to them at all, or do you know, do they limit you on those super long rides, or do they kind of put you into a different pool? Does that make sense?
They actually don't do something specially. It's just when the rider is on board and on DoorDash, he or she just makes a choice. Like obviously, if you have these 20 miles deliveries, you should not use the e-bike probably. But our main market. So first of all, I think you
Well,
should
I mean, that's
understand
not something
that.
I like to take. Nobody likes to take it. It's just something we all deny, and then you get your acceptance rating brought down. So I
Yeah,
was
I
wondering,
got it.
I just had to think to myself that they wouldn't be so dumb as to assign or try and assign 20-mile deliveries to bike riders when they have people
No,
in
sure.
vehicles.
No. They don't do that. So first of all, I think you should know about our business that it's mostly for dense areas and 90% of our business in New York. So we started this company like literally 3 years ago in February 2022, rented out our first electric bike in New York. Since then, we grew up to about 4,000 bikes right now in active rent in New York and in some other cities, but it's still 90% of the business is New York. And if you've been to New York, you understand that
Oh yeah, yeah,
e-bike
yeah,
is
yeah.
obviously is the best option for delivery there, and maybe the only one possible. Maybe moped or e-bike. That's the only option to deliver in New York.
Right. Well, I don't know
Yeah,
what they do with the e-scooters anymore, but I know that was starting to turn into a bit of a headache too. So,
yeah. No, they don't. They don't because if you do an 8 hour shift, you want to have a saddle at least.
yeah.
You know.
So,
So
um, okay. So DoorDash, you guys have some kind of affiliation with them though, other than just you giving a discount for being with DoorDash. So I'm thinking again, I just really want to lock in on this. And if you don't know, you don't. I mean, most of us are trying to figure out the DoorDash algorithm every day.
yeah.
But I'm imagining they have a smaller algorithm for people on bikes. I mean, in some cities they still have an option to walk,
hmm
to be a
Well,
walker DoorDash
honestly.
deliverer. you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'm the right guy to get some insights on their algorithms. Well, the only thing I can say that indeed we are starting a new partnership with them right now. It's a little bit deeper than it was before, and the idea of the partnership, I think you will like it. So in some areas, like we start running this pilot project in Chicago, and by the way, I think Steve, you will be the first person we are telling it like officially right now because we will send a press release, I think, tomorrow or something like that. But so we are starting this pilot project with DoorDash in March in Chicago. And during this pilot project, DoorDash will subsidize the first months of the e-bike to delivery driver.
Oh
So
wow. Okay.
that's a very interesting experiment, and we already confirmed hundreds of e-bikes in Chicago. And the idea is that in some areas, DoorDash has more demand than supply, so they need more riders, and they want to experiment with that. Like, okay, let's say in Chicago we don't have enough guys on cars, and maybe some audience can't afford a car. So what if we offer them an e-bike and maybe even subsidize it for them, at least for the first months, and see how it works? So that's the idea of the experiment. And like I said, we started in the middle of March, and DoorDash will literally subsidize. I'd say like 80%. Well, DoorDash will subsidize 60% of the first months, and we will subsidize another 30% of the first months. So basically, the delivery drivers will have to pay only like $10 per month instead of
Well, that's what I was
200.
gonna say. You guys are gonna be out of bikes in Chicago like the first day you launch.
Yeah, and I
Because some
think
people are
that
gonna see, dude, I can try this for a few months for $10.
not for a few
For
months
a,
to be
for a
to
month,
yeah,
whatever it is.
for
I mean, like
months.
for
Yeah,
1 month, I can try this and not use my car. And again,
exactly.
Chicago, for those that don't know, I'm pretty familiar with cities. It's not quite a New York City experience, but it's pretty close. Anything
Yeah,
within the downtown act, because like I live in Denver, Denver's spread all over. Chicago's
yeah,
spread all over, but right within the loop of the city itself, Chicago is somewhere where most of the people I know hate driving.
yeah.
They don't want to be a driver delivery person for any of these because they get tickets all the time. They're having to illegally park. I've been to Chicago many times, even not doing these apps. I can't even imagine doing them in a car because you can't find a parking spot to save your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
The only problem with Chicago is it's a little bit cold in winter. So
but
yeah,
you're starting in mid-March. I
yeah,
mean, it's kind of
yeah,
the end. It's the end of winterish. It's,
yeah. But I
and
agree. I think I hope we will be out of bikes on day one, and this will be a great experiment. And we are good to be out of bikes because if DoorDash is ready to subsidize it, for us it's great. The only question is how many people will stay for the second month, for the third month when they have to pay for the bike. That's what we're gonna try. That's what we're gonna learn
But I
through
think
this
that,
experiment. But
if
I'm very
you find
optimistic.
people making as much or more without spending gas and taking their car out and potentially getting tickets or in accidents or some of this stuff, plus not only the fact of, which we haven't even mentioned yet, of the fact of being on a bike and getting some exercise and just kind of,
Yeah.
not feeling so
Yeah,
cooped up
it's
all day.
actually
So,
yeah, it's pretty fun. Many of our customers say that it's great actually to bike around the city. It gives them a sense of freedom, and I like many of them say like that. And yeah, I agree. And actually, DoorDash just released a report on two-wheel delivery in the US, and they say it's growing. They said that in this report they shared that the share of two-wheel delivery on DoorDash tripled in the last 2 years. It's still very small, so I think it's like, I don't know, 6 or 7% or something like that, maybe 10% of all deliveries made in the country, but it's growing fast because people are realizing that and also they said in this report that it's more profitable for delivery guys because they pay less for the renting. Renting a bike is way cheaper than renting a car, and you don't have to pay for gas and parking and all these fees and I don't know, fines, etc. So it's actually more profitable. It's convenient, at least in dense cities and dense places, and it's growing. So yeah,
I think there's a difference too. There's a difference between rideshare and delivery. So when we take rideshare out of the equation, which you should be keeping your car as nice as possible before giving people rides, but in the delivery space, maybe you're not renting a car, maybe you own a car, or maybe you're like looking for what is the oldest model I can get with the cheapest miles, and you're buying some beater car for $1,000, $2,000, and then there starts coming in issues. I have talked to just numerous people over the years who do not factor in um, the decrease in value of a car. That's okay. That's one thing, but to not factor in the maintenance is
exactly,
something that I've seen blow up in everybody's face because they're like, no,
exactly.
what do you mean
It's
maintenance? And
expensive.
I do oil changes. I'm like, but until something goes wrong,
Yeah,
something's
and
going to go wrong with
actually,
cars.
people always don't think about maintenance when using bikes, and that's why our rental option is very popular. So because at a first glance, you usually when you see our price, you think like, oh man, I would better buy a bike, right? But you don't think about maintenance in this equation because even to maintain an e-bike, if you ride, for example, our riders, they do like 600 miles per month on our bikes on average, and that's a lot. And
Yeah.
something always happens with the bikes, and it's pretty expensive if you do it, I don't know, in some nearest bike shop or something. So that's why, yeah, but it also included in our price, in our rental price. So that's why it's actually beneficial for the guys to rent, because maintenance is included. It's kind of guaranteed. It's very important.
When I was looking at the price of your bike brand new, like if that's the option you went for, if you go to the website and you're like, you know what, I'll just buy one brand new.
Yeah.
I actually am familiar with e-bike pricing. I don't think yours is actually out of line. It actually seems very competitive, minus all this delivery partnership stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are right there with the other e-bike companies and what they cost.
Exactly, exactly. So we are not overpriced. Actually, as a company, we are not making money. We are mostly investing money. So it's not at that point, at least it's not about the profits. It's more about, offering a great product. I don't know, maybe we get there in the future, but not today. So yeah, the price of the bike is very competitive. And the most important part about this bike, there are two very important things. The first one is the battery size. And this is the most important thing, like
Yes. I saw that.
how many miles or kilometers or miles you can ride on this bike. And this is about battery size. And our batteries is probably the largest battery in the market, at least when we speak about legal certified batteries. So that is an
You're getting
important thing.
almost twice of the time
Twice of
on
what
a
time you
well
mean?
on the website. I was seeing like I was looking at the comparison, and I think it said, I can't remember if it was 60 and 120 or what it was, but it looked like about twice the
Yeah,
average
it's
e-bike battery.
yeah, it's basically, so what we promise is like around 85 miles per one battery if you
Okay.
pedal, at least if you pedal a little. And yeah, so and that's a lot. And the other important thing about the bike is that it has GPS on it and it's theft protected because in cities like New York, people, your bike can be stolen and it happens all the time. And with
Oh, yeah.
our service, we kind of guarantee that we are not guaranteeing it, but we usually find the bike if it's stolen because we have a special so-called IoT system on the bike, like a smart electronics, GPS, etc. And we can track the bike. We can remotely turn off the bike. We can block the wheel on the bike. We can turn off electric chain on the bike, etc. We can turn on alarm. And we have special guys actually who go and find and get back the bike if something happens. And that's very important also for people because they know that if they get our bike, it probably will not be stolen, and if it will, we will probably find it and get it back, and
Yeah.
that's also very important.
So, okay, so one of the facts I see on the website is more than 10,000 riders using Whiz already. Average rider income with Whiz can increase by over 25% of your already earnings. I would take that against what people should be setting aside for car maintenance, and this, you might make the same amount, but your car's not going to break down in 3 months, and you're going to have to pay $600. And then I see
Yeah,
this one
exactly.
document required, which I think is huge. I think that's a great idea as long as
Yeah.
you guys feel protected with that. But just an ID, credit card or debit card, and 18 years old, and that's it.
Yeah, and that was pretty revolutionary also because we are, say, if you come to our bike shop and get a bike from us, we are basically trust you a bike that costs like $1,600, right? So it's pretty
Mhm.
expensive, and we actually require only one document for that, your ID, and that is possible exactly because we have this very advanced anti-theft protection on the bike. So we know that even if it will be stolen, we will get it back. So that's why
Okay.
this our background checks and scoring process is pretty soft.
Um, Now, I don't live in New York City. I can only imagine, though, that just like cars getting stolen, and you'd think like some of these high end cars that have extremely robust security systems, is there any kind of, not just with you guys, but with e-bikes in general and things that have that type of value now? Are there people stealing these and throwing them in vans type thing? And is there a piece that can be dismantled, which then, if thrown away, you can't GPS locate it? Or are you being able to hide this in such a place where it's like you'd have to destroy the bike to?
Yeah, I mean, of course it happens sometimes, and that we lose a bike. Basically, every month we lose like I don't know dozens of bikes, but it's pretty low percentage according to our fleet of thousands. So I'd say that 80 to 90% of the bikes we are able to track and return. And speaking of this GPS and IoT systems, yeah, we have some secrets. We have some. I would not probably describe it, but
No, no, no. I don't
yeah,
want
we
you
have
to. I
some
don't want you to
secrets. We
give
have
away any of the secret sauce or details to it. But at the same time, I would think with a bike, you're in a better position to put some different pieces instead of a car. Because in a car, people know right where to go to dismantle that stuff. And with a bike, it's
yeah.
like, if they have to tear into the frame, well, they just wrecked the bike. So what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, it's pretty hard to sell our bike if you say got it from us because we will track it too. If we see our
Okay.
bike that is sold on Facebook Marketplace, we will
Yeah.
probably call the police and say here, hey, this is our bike. Let's do something with that because it's stolen. And the bike is branded with our brand. It's bright green with our color, so it's impossible to hide it. So it just makes very complicated for thieves, and they would prefer, I think, to steal something else, not our bike. So we were able to build this brand, which is, from one side, we are doing a great customer service, at least we try, and we provide the bike, with only one document, etc. We speak 6 languages, by the way, in our customer support. So we are trying to do good things for our audience. But on the other side, we are trying to build that type of brand that people know that they should not, steal from us, because we will try to find it and get it back, whatever it costs.
Sure.
So and this protects our customers who use it bike. So that's what we are trying to build.
So before I move here at all, like what is the price of a new bike? We went through the rental. What is the price of a new bike, and then what are these pre-owned?
So the price of the bike on our website, if you want to get our new bike, last generation, it will be, I think, $1,600. It changes sometimes, but it's always around $1,600.
Okay. And then I saw the pre-owns at about 700. So when I was only bringing that up, because
$700 to $800.
When you mentioned Facebook Marketplace, I was wondering, is this almost like a warning? Like, because I tell people don't do anything on Facebook Marketplace. It's become extremely sketchy. But yeah. I mean, if somebody sees a Whiz bike on Facebook Marketplace, is your recommendation pretty much do not buy that? It's not actually illegal, or are there?
We sell our used bikes on Facebook Marketplace, but you can see that it's that we sell it usually. So yeah, otherwise, I would not recommend to buy.
But I would imagine that
can block.
Are those rentals that are being resold, or are some of those even people who bought the bike and then you prefer them to come back and sell the bike back to you and not to sell it privately? If they want to get rid of the bike.
If they own a bike, they can they can do whatever they want with the bike. That's their bike. It's only the problem when it's stolen. So yeah, that's it. But speaking of used bikes, we also sell them. So our model works like that. We buy a new bike, then we rent it out, and then when it works for about 24 months, we sell it. So we sell it as a used bike because it's still a good bike, and we sell it for usually $700 to $800, something like that.
Right. Okay, so those are just they're a little older, but there's nothing wrong with them. Do you sell the extra batteries?
Yeah, we do. So we have different pricing plans. By the way, these are one of the most popular ones. A second battery plan, so you can rent another battery, and this is pretty popular right now. I hope, by the way,
because it gives you almost 160 miles in a day.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, being honest, in winter and cold time, it goes a little bit lower. So and if battery is not new, it's also can be a little bit lower. So yeah, sometimes there is a sense to have a second battery. We actually have a plan to get rid of it, and we want to introduce battery swapping infrastructure in our cities. This say cabinets where you can swap one battery to another in just 5 seconds. That's what we want to deliver in partnership with some couple of other companies, maybe this year. I hope it will happen this year, at least in New York. And I think it will be a game changer, because if we have, say, I don't know, 200 swapping cabinets around New York, and you can swap your battery just in 5 seconds for a new battery, and all included in our pricing plan, that will be next level. So that's what we are working on right now.
Great. So you have 25 locations from the website. This is where I'm getting this as of now. This probably doesn't include Chicago, which we just told you guys about for the first time, but 25 locations.
It should said that we are opening soon there. And just to be clear, of that 25 location, it's only 6 I think
states.
I think it's 6 or 7 locations that are our own locations, and other locations are our partner bike shops that only sell our bikes.
So that's what I was going to get to next. Was I was thinking, why aren't you in every state? Because from what I could see, it looked like all bike shops. So it seems to me like you're just partnering up with bike shops who are willing to be on board with us. And
that's a great question. So actually, the answer it was we started this bike shop partnership just 3 months ago. So this 20 something bike shops we got, it's just we just did it in 3 months, and it works great. So we want to expand with bike shops, and I hope we will cover the whole country. But there is one small problem with that. When you say when say we get a bike shop in Denver, for example, and we are not
Mhm.
there, and we send to your bike shop, say, I don't know, 20 bikes, and then you rent them out, not sell, but rent them out. And if somebody is steal the bike or just stop paying, we can't do anything with that. Say somebody rented out an electric bike from your bike shop, they pay to us every month. At some point, they just stopped paying and they don't return the bike. So that's a problem. So we need to build this infrastructure where we can track the bike, get the bike back, etc. So that's the only thing we need to solve. But yeah, I believe that next year in 2026, I think I hope we will cover most of the cities in the US.
So is there anything that would, I'll just put it out there because I know my listeners, I know there must be some thinking this.
Mhm.
If I was in Chicago and I was coming back to Denver and I said, you know what? I'm coming back to Chicago in 2 months. I want to take one of these bikes on a rental and see how it does in my market. If I don't like it, I'll bring it back.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not something you endorse, but how is that kind of thing handled? Or do you tell people you must be in the market that you're renting in?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that actually happens all the time. So at some point, we found our bikes. The funny story that we see on the map, we see one of
Yeah, you
our
see the
bikes.
GPS is like,
Yeah, we see it on the Google map in our software. So we build our own software and we track all the bikes there. And one of the bikes we track it for the last 6 months in Uzbekistan, which is I don't know how to describe it, but it's another continent. It's somewhere in between. I don't know India and I don't know Dubai or something. So it's a small country there. I don't know how it got there, but we see the bike there. So sometimes that happens, and
okay.
yeah, and definitely people rent a bike in Washington D.C., but they use it in Baltimore, which is 1 hour from there, right? So that happens all the time.
Okay.
I don't know.
But
We
that
are
one seems like you're okay with it because you have a Baltimore location.
Yeah, now we are okay with that. We found a bike shop there who
Right.
help us with that. So yeah.
But is that the ease of it is just partnering up with a bike shop? Like when you guys go in and pitch a bike shop and say, here's what we do, we'd like to partner with you. And then all of a sudden you could be in Denver.
Yeah, that's a model we invented 3 months ago. We're still exploring it because there are a lot of details, etc. But yeah, that's so we started this, like I said, 3 years ago with our own bike shops, with our own locations. We call them rider hubs, and it works. But it's pretty complicated to scale it because to open a location, to hire people there, to manage them, it's pretty complicated. So like 3 months ago, I think in November we thought like, okay, maybe we should outsource part of the work to our partners, and that's how we got to the idea. So yeah, the idea is very simple. If you're a bike shop, we just send you 5 bikes as a trial. You don't pay us, by the way, nothing, and then you rent it out or sell it, and you get your commission. So that's
Okay.
it. If it works, we send you another 5 bikes, and it goes on.
Okay. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I would
pretty cool.
imagine things like Miami, maybe, or Boston, or these are the ones on your map for future cities, potentially
Oh yeah,
Dallas.
we have we have a list of 15 cities we want to launch in the next 2 3 years. And by the
Okay.
way, we are exchanging data with platforms like Doordash, for example, and they're doing great. I think that honestly, California is a great place. San Francisco plus Oakland plus San Jose
Yeah. Yeah.
is a one spot. The other one is Los Angeles. And also, yeah, like you said, Boston, Miami,
Maybe Portland,
maybe.
Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. So, and by the way, I don't know if you see bikes in Denver, but according to Doordash, you have some bikes there. So
Oh,
maybe
I mean, I don't
mopeds.
know who's doing DoorDash. I don't see a lot of that on e-bikes, but here in Denver, we have e-bikes everywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, we're pretty everybody's pretty athletic here in Denver, so people are doing something, and everybody's on an e-bike. So,
Yeah.
um,
So yeah, so I think you'll see our bikes in Denver soon. I hope so. Maybe next year.
so the yeah, so I mean, the real question, the one thing I would like to know though is like, and we're always trying to dissect this, is how I'd like to know how like if I had one here, how DoorDash would send me offers. Would they no longer send me these long offers and they'd kind of put me in a new algorithm? But I guess that's part of their black box and we will never know. But so really, like, the expansion isn't that hard. I mean, I think this partnership with DoorDash shows their faith in you, and it also, I am for fact for sure, DoorDash loves partnering up with you if they can work with you like this, because anything they can show that shows that they're getting drivers out of cars is really good with legislators and lawmakers right now.
Yeah, they have this green initiatives about that, and they're interested. They made some promises, so definitely. But also they say that, like I said, it's in some areas it's more profitable. So it's basically the driver has better economics
Yeah.
because he spends less on the vehicle. So yeah, and like this experiment in Chicago, you see that they are even willing to, sometimes they're even willing to subsidize part of that, which I think is a great idea. So yeah.
So these on the website where I see the big boxes on the back of people, the ones that you wear with the double straps and whatnot, where are those coming from? Because we never see those as as they send us hot bags and things like that.
Yeah.
So where are these
That's
hot
why we
boxes
decided
coming from?
That's why we decided to create our own bags, because at the beginning, when we just started business, we were always thinking like, how should we do our go-to-market strategy? How should we advertise? And when you put ads on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever, or Google, it's pretty expensive. And we actually don't like to pay platform for ads, because we better do something more, useful. So we thought like maybe we should invest in our own bags with our logo, and just just do it free and just make it free. So in the first year, I think in the first 12 months in New York, everybody who got our bike just got this great bag with our logo for free. And it
Right.
was a win-win. Instead of paying Instagram for ads, we were giving these bags, but this was an advertising for us. And we got, became popular in the city. So that's how it started. Now we honestly, right now we are selling them, but we are selling them without adding any margin on that. So we buy them, we order them, I think in China or something like that, and then we sell them for exactly the same price. We don't earn anything on that. It's just more like an promotion for us.
Okay. So if I come in to rent a bike, the person at that bike store who's knowledge on these is gonna tell me you're probably gonna want one of these too, and are you having to order it, or is
Yeah.
it like, are they sometimes there in the store? Are you able to walk out and
Yeah,
start
they're
working?
just there in the store. We have everything,
Okay.
all accessories, and we have a lot of accessories, by the way. Great helmets, great bags, great safe vests. And by the way, safe vests we're giving for free because it's just about safety. It's pretty affordable, and it doesn't cost a lot, so we give them
You're
for
talking about
free.
like
Just
reflection vests and stuff?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Because this is a big issue. If you want to know the
Oh, yeah.
stats, it's like 25 to 30% of our customers, they got into accident on the road. So it's a
Right,
pretty
yeah.
big issue. So we thought like, what can we do with that? And safety vest is a small step to add a little bit more safety, and it's not that expensive for us, so we are giving it for free. But other accessories, like I said, bike meats for winter, bags, helmets. I think what else? Some charging. This charging for additional charging for phones, etc. So we sell it, but we sell everything, but we don't earn margins on that, because for us it's just more like branding.
So one of the biggest things that I'm gathering from today, and it would only make sense, is that the people renting or renting to own get the best. They're the ones on the maintenance programs.
Yeah.
Because if
Exactly.
you're buying if you're buying if you're buying used, or if you're buying brand new from you, I'm sure it's not like, well, good luck, guys, never talk to us again. You still have all the supplies and you can still help them, but they're not on quite that daily.
Yep.
These people need to be taken care of. Is there, I mean, I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty of like, just real quick, of like tread depth. I mean, do you guys have like a tread depth meter, like a tire company would, that says, yeah, this isn't, like you were mentioning that winter, you know, that, oh, this tread depth's getting too low, these tires have to be replaced? I mean, do you do is the
Yeah,
maintenance program
yeah, exactly.
inclusive of things like that?
We do it like that. If I understood your question correctly, so if you get to our location and you have some problem, let's say flattened tire, we change the tire, but we see that if something else happening with the bike, we also fix it
Right.
at that point. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that's why I was saying, like if I take my car and okay, I'm just going to give it away. I get all my tires at Discount Tire. Every time I buy a tire, I pay $15. That $15 covers me for whatever the miles are, or if I get the tread depth down to like 4/10 of an inch or whatever it is. And once it gets below there, they replace the tire because they say it's no longer a safe tire. And so I was wondering
Yeah,
if things like that
that's
were
what we are
being done
trying to
too.
do.
Like, you know what, this is becoming a little, the tread's gone. He's going to slip and hurt himself, and we need to replace these.
We try to do it with tires. We also do it with brakes because it's also very important for safety. So if we see that we have to replace the brakes, brake pads, we always do that.
So I didn't see it on the website, but as we're wrapping it up here, since we let the cat out of the bag about Chicago,
Yeah.
Is there a way that people can like look into and start going, wait a minute, I'm kind of excited about this, I want to get on that Chicago list, and like try and get that partner up with DoorDash yet? Or how does that part work for, and this is specifically for the people of Chicago when it does launch?
Yeah, so I think it's already on our website, so you can at least leave your contacts there and get to the waiting list. So that's how
Okay.
it works right now. And starting from March 10th, it will be available and you can get the bike. But by the way, what's important, indeed, you should have a DoorDash account, or you should uh, make a DoorDash account with us at that point. So you either already have it or you're doing it right at the point, but you should have it. And also, if you do this, obviously DoorDash wants you to deliver on DoorDash. It's not like you get the bike and you just don't, and then you don't do deliveries. It's not what they want.
Of course not,
So
of
I
course
think
not.
so the part of the contract is that they cover this price, but you have to do at least 25 deliveries per month. And if you don't do that, then you have to cover the price. But 25 deliveries per month, it's a very small amount. You can do it per day, maybe 2 days. So I think it's still pretty good. But yeah, that's just to be very clear about that. So that's one of the terms of the contract.
So this might be a little bit of a hard spot for DoorDash, but if you meet the contractual obligations, if it's 25 a month and you do this first month and you do your 25, is there anything, I mean, people could probably do what people would do anyway, but is there anything that if you did the 25, do they care if you're using it for Uber Eats too? Do they care if you're
No, I think that, well, maybe they would like to care, but they can't, basically, because they can
right?
track if driver uses another app. For them, I think it's important if you do this 25 for them. That's
Right,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, multi-apping is just it's okay.
Yeah, because multi-apping has become pretty much a must. So, I mean, that's why I was wondering.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of your riders are going to be using it for Uber Eats too, even though this is a
Yeah,
DoorDash
sure.
promotion.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you guys check out, make sure to check out, I'm going to put it up here, Get Whiz, GetWhizz.com. There's a lot on the website's pretty informative. It's pretty straightforward. It talks about a lot of the things we talked about here today. And Mike, did we cover everything, or you got any final words here, or anything people should know that we forgot to cover?
I think, Steve, you asked great questions, and yeah, that's it. Maybe the only thing to add here is, when we started this company, we are immigrants ourselves, and a lot of our people in our audience are immigrants. So when we moved to States, we just felt that it's really hard to get the first job. And when you get to States from any other country, you don't have credit score, you don't have anything. So even a bike for 1600s, it's pretty expensive. So it's
Sure.
so we wanted just, and we had experience in the delivery space. So we were like, how can we fix that? And in New
Yeah.
York, it was pretty obvious that it was spotted with low quality, pretty dangerous Chinese bikes with batteries that catch fire and all that kind of problems. So we were like, why shouldn't we build legal bikes with safe batteries and with different pricing options and with maintenance, so people could just start doing this job just from day one, and there would not be any barrier. And that was a very, very simple idea, because besides this business, and we rented out, like I said, our first bike in February 2022, and since then it's just exploding. And I think we have thousands and thousands of bikes on the roads right now. If you walk through Manhattan today, you will see our bike every, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And it's very inspiring. I think we found some pain, and we provided a solution. And it's just very inspiring to me that we were lucky to find it.
Well, I think that, there's another problem too that I've talked about many times here on the podcast, where in a lot of these cities, especially the ones we're talking about, somebody has a car and they have one DoorDash account, one account to tied to each of the car, because you can't have a car tied to multiple accounts. But then they run the car 24-hour cycles. And these are immigrants doing this too. Like, okay, well, I take it, then my brother takes it, then my brother takes it. And we just keep it going 24 hours a day. But that's illegal. With the bike, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, by the way.
Because you're
And
not,
also,
because the
and also
bike
you
is
don't have,
okay.
yeah, and you don't have a driving license for that. So
Well, I
that's
mean,
another
also
that's
that
another
you can,
important thing.
you could, you're not having to, like, if you do have to somehow register the bike, they don't care if it's the same bike.
Yeah, and you don't have to register it. It doesn't have a plate. It's just a bike,
Right.
basically. It's
Yeah.
just designed and built for delivery. So yeah, it's
Right.
also very important and convenient. Exactly.
So yeah, with that, guys, I mean, I would say to get onto this, and hopefully you guys keep continuing your growth, because to me, when I was thinking about it, I'm like, all you need is a bike store that's on board. I mean, really, I'm sure that there's more logistics for you guys, like you like to be in this state and have a location where you can oversee those bike partners. But at the same time, it seems like it would be a much easier model to grow than most of these companies that rent cars or do this, because like I know companies that won't even touch California because California has so many regulations against things. There's no way that they can get into the market. With something like an e-bike, I would think that as soon as you're ready, you could get in there.
The cool thing about e-bikes, it looks like a win-win-win situation for everyone, because basically platforms like DoorDash and Uber are interested in that. Then a lot of drivers are interested in that because it's affordable. And also cities are interested in that because it's no gas, it's electric, it's
Sure.
small, so it's compact. So it's basically everybody wins. So that's another thing why I like this idea.
Yeah, I mean, I would think this, there's going to be some people who do this work that it's not going to appeal to, but I would think that most of all, the majority of people who already are dashing and getting out and running upstairs to apartment complexes and don't mind that kind of stuff, maybe they're even interested. You know what? I've been doing this for a while. I'm kind of getting sick of sitting in my car. Maybe let me get out on a bike for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you might find you love it. Who knows? I mean, I guess weather's a variable. There's a lot of variables, but to me, it sounds like the renting model is the way that everybody's protected. And maybe that's, I don't know what the percentage is, but maybe that's the biggest percentage of people using the platform too, are the ones just straight up renting. Like that way, these guys take care of everything.
Yeah.
But
and it's easy, and it's a low barrier to entry. You don't have to buy anything. You just try it for a month, and then you see if it works for you.
So with the one last question, with the rentals, Do you give them a second battery?
You can have it as an additional option. You can rent another battery for some additional, I don't know, some $20 or something.
Okay, so everything's available at all the locations that you're at, though. Like everything you need is there in the location, and it's not like they're like, we have to order it. It's like right there.
No, it's right there. Exactly.
Okay. So you guys check out getwhiz.com. I'm interested. They're not in my market yet, but as soon as they are, maybe I'll check them out too. Who knows? I always like experimenting, but Mike, thank you for joining me. Very interested to see where your company goes. That's a wrap for the week, and I want to thank Mike for GetWhiz for joining us. So until next week, everybody be safe, earn smart, and we'll see you next week on the podcast. Thank you, everybody.
She was just a baby.